All right, everyone, we are back, and I hope that you didn't get your fill of speedrunning with Spyro, because we have a powerful speedrun with Portal 2 by RealCreative and Betsruner. Okay, team, I think we are ready for you, so I want to see some Portal action.
All right. Yeah. I think we're both ready to
Yeah, I can't
ready
wait.
to go. Ready to start up the
Ready
run.
to start the run whenever.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, just count us in when you're ready to go, and yeah, we're all excited for the run and looking forward to seeing a beloved game. Everybody loves Portal. I don't know anyone who dislikes Portal, honestly.
I've literally never heard anyone say anything
Yeah.
like negative about it. Well, except like the speedrun thing, but that's just because you know, the view snaps.
Yeah.
But, which we'll get to go over later in the run. In fact, this was actually just the map we were practicing on not a moment ago, so we'll get to see some exciting view snaps, which are pretty new to the game.
Quite controversial at
Actually, we
that.
should probably talk about calibration though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were banned for a short while.
We're gonna be using a glitch in this map that we just call a co-op boost, and essentially what happens is that I'm gonna be jumping into Bets while he's standing in a portal, and that's gonna, since we're like colliding, and he gives me, like, since the game is really bad, he gives me speed upwards like that, and that basically just puts me out of bounds, which oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a second thing that you do there to get inbounds, where when two players like touch each other and they're like right on the edge of a very thin out of bounds surface, for some reason the game just like freaks out and it's just like, okay, we're just gonna throw you inbounds real quick. And so that's a really good way for me to get there. I just shoot up on the ceiling, he can pop out, hit the button, work his way on over to the door, which is open because I passed the door because I teleported through the wall. And that that makes that map really quick and easy. That saves about like 20 seconds compared to the more conventional way of doing the map where you just go through the whole thing.
So more, we're gonna have some pretty boring maps coming up. Nothing really special going on. So I think it's a good time to just talk about the general like tech of the game. We utilize b-hopping, as I think most people already know. But Portal 2 has a very like floaty style of movement where you can't really accelerate as quickly. So we won't be doing like hard strafing like you would see in maybe Counter-Strike Source or stuff like that, and we'll be gaining speed a lot more slowly. That right there is a button glitch, which is something only Orange can do, and it happens basically because since Orange has ping, they can leave the button without the game knowing that they did. So it just lets the button be stuck, hence why we call it a button stick.
Also, back onto the movement. This game, other than like being like harder to accelerate, this game also has a weird mechanic where once you get over 300 velocity, it's really difficult to change direction, and you basically can't. So if you see us like suddenly like stop when we're on corners, that's why. It makes it so that you can actually like turn and get to the next part of the map.
I also just want to mention that I've had some mouse issues today, so if I suddenly fall off an edge, it's because my mouse just didn't let me jump.
You know, the good old the good old gamer mistake of it's the mouse that's ruining my speedrun.
I wouldn't normally.
You're rank 1 in co-op now.
I don't wanna blame it, but
These tests are potentially lethal when communication,
for some things I just don't really have a
mutual
choice.
respect are not employed at all
This map has the
Naturally,
first
people pose an interesting
fade,
challenge
which is what we call it at the end of the map,
given
where
others
we
prefer
go into the
slow
elevator at a
combat.
certain time. I bet you could probably explain that better than me.
Yeah, basically, the map really likes to make you listen to its dialogue. So what it'll do is it'll just constantly be checking like, hey, is the dialogue over? So that way the game can end. But so if you want to optimize that, you have to. It only checks like once every 60 ticks, which is 1 second. So if you want to optimize for that, you're going to need to walk in at a very specific time. So it fades like right when it like checks. Otherwise, you'll lose up to a second. In single player, it can be like a lot more because the elevator like points are like much further apart. But in co-op, it's only about a second.
That right there, I restarted the level because normally the game wants us to sit through a cutscene or a different taunt that is much slower, and so what we do is we restart level to unlock or to use a much quicker taunt that lets us save around 2 seconds while we're doing the slower taunt. So you basically just need to reset after you unlock that taunt, which is after 1.6 seconds.
For instance,
Why is this not working?
Just on your head.
2 opportunity advisement points.
Yeah, you can. This whole like elevator part just isn't solid, which makes it look really weird.
Yeah. I flicked my mouse so hard that I slammed it into my monitor.
No.
That's not good. Fortunately, monitor's not broken, so we can't continue the speedrun. Oh, this is not balling.
If it were,
Oh no.
Oh, I edge booked. Okay, that's you might want to shoot portals so you don't die. Oh, okay.
I had the cube. I don't think I could have had time.
Yes, it's a bit of an unfortunate circumstance. Well, I mean, that's a decent time to explain edge bugging. There's a bit of a problem with this game where you don't want to land too close to an edge because if you are, you will technically like touch the edge, but the game will just deny your jump input, which means that you won't make the gap, fall into the goo, you'll die, you'll have to wait 10 seconds. Fortunately, on this map, it's not technically all bad because when you die, you get quicker dialogue, but it is still ultimately slower, so it's not beneficial to aim for the death there.
outside the confines of the lab. This next test is so outside the box, won't even tell you what you were looking
No CM.
for. You will know it when you find it.
Oh,
Decided to shoot it there.
I
Okay.
shot there.
Congratulations.
Gotta keep your co-op partner on their toes, sometimes surprise route.
This is the perfect time to show off the perfect map geometry of this game.
Literally like 3 millimeters outside the window, and they're over here just like, wow, they can't even keep the rails aligned.
You don't feel pain. At any rate, you don't have a way to communicate.
Yeah, so
you feel pain.
the way that
Consider that a feeling, but
that the co-op campaign is kind of set up, you just go into like different sections and then you return to this hub area. There is a any percent which lets you skip several of these by like you just go straight to course 3 by doing some really fantastic glitches. But we're not running that category, so we'll be running straight to course 2 because we have to play through all the main courses, which is every course except for course 6, because course 6 was added in DLC post-game release.
This is the first map in which we'll
Yeah.
be using the reportal glitch. That it's not really sure if it's a glitch or not, but whatever. It's essentially what we do is when you stand inside the portal and you shoot that same portal, it'll push you out with 200 velocity. And if we combine that with doing a jump, then we can use the extra 200 velocity to clear gaps like we both just did here.
Absolutely is a glitch, by the way.
Let's,
we don't have to start that debate. Yeah.
That's right. You're not humans.
There's also a funny little glitch here where if you can grab the ball through the dropper if it's not off-centered, but when it's off-centered it is easier, and you can just get an extra ball down here. Unfortunately, it is a little bit difficult, so it's not likely to happen every time, but sometimes, on a rare occurrence, you might get to see players smuggle both the balls into the ending room.
Yeah. We're going to be using a scripted momentum glitch here, I believe at least. You can take that one.
Oops.
Sorry. I was just thinking of all the ways humans can die.
Yeah. Scripted momentum is basically when the game wants to send you on a really nice fling, like a nice path, they'll like have it pre-planned out for you. So when you exit a surface, it'll just be like, okay, we're just resetting your velocity to this. That way you can get the nice, like, pretty scenic route that Valve wanted. But sometimes they set the minimums poorly on those. So when you walk through the angled panel like I just did, the game gets confused. So not only am I going out the wrong way of the angled panel, you should be going out the other way if you want the script momentum, but it also gives it to me backwards going over the gap. So that allowed me to just quickly go to that ending area, and then I could just do simple portaling for creative over, which is basically the intended route.
Here we're going to be utilizing another button stick, and as you just saw, since it is relying on ping and packet loss, it isn't entirely consistent, and you sometimes have to attempt multiple times. And here, Bets actually dies, so I can activate the ending dialogue sooner. If I don't wait until he's dead, that actually gives us a much slower dialogue. We have to wait longer.
Yeah. There are a few maps where dialogue doesn't matter. You might have noticed them in the very start of the game. It was like the very first 3 maps after like calibration. Or no, just the first 2. Doors and buttons. There are 2 coming up, one of which... Oh, my bad.
I had a jump input lost.
Oh, rest in peace. Oh, I flipped my portals for some reason. Oh, you good?
Oh, I shot the wrong portal.
I shot the wrong... My bad. I flipped my portal colors here for some reason, so...
Oh. Oh my god.
In case you in case you ever wondered, sometimes portal runners do flip their portal colors, and it does get really confusing because then you'll muscle memory a click, and then all of a sudden your partner is getting screwed up. There was also another issue that happened there on Creative's first fling over. It wasn't really his fault for missing it. Basically, what happens is when if Orange shoots the portal on like the last frame, like right before they go through, for some reason the game just gets mega confused and will just reset where they're looking to a really inconvenient angle for making that straight. It's not like impossible, but it does make it way more difficult. Creative, do you want to explain this?
Sure. Right here I got something called a quantum crouch, which essentially means that I am in a crouched state, like my hitbox is crouched, but my camera and where I shoot portals from is standing. And that lets me like poke out of the ceiling there and just shoot a portal straight to the end.
Who dances around
and this is one of the maps.
Yep, and then we also taunt there using the faster taunt because there is a like the game doesn't want you to show you a like pretty low taunt there, but if you taunt midair, that one is the shortest taunt in the game, so you can skip the unlocking of that. Now we're coming up to an interesting map, multi-flings. You're gonna see us steal a cube out of a dropper. There, if you just push your head against like the bottom part of the hold on. The bottom part of the dropper, it'll just let you grab it like right through it. And then right there, I just did a little bit of a great shot. Basically, the idea behind those are the surfaces of like the graded area are not marked for not being portable. They're marked as portable by the game. So if you can find a space like that's barely big enough, it'll just let you eke out a little bit of a portal shot in them, which is obviously way closer to that middle room door. So by shooting there, it lets Creative catch up to me and get into the middle room much quicker.
In the second room there, I also utilize a scripted momentum where I enter the angled portal, but that time it's the right direction, so it looks a little more natural.
Your test time show you are
Yeah,
going too
and
slow
on top of that is one of the oh,
Do
whoops.
you need
That is a
reinforcement?
scripted momentum where they actually
Yes,
please work. Okay, thank you.
You're so good.
You are the most advanced model of robot. Aperture science had
Yeah, that scripted momentum from the previous map is basically one of the few ones where they set it at literally like 0 velocity. So as long as you walk through that portal surface, it'll just fling you out. That one that round that just happened there for the late explanation. Oh, yep. Sorry, this is a maybe we'll skip explaining that map so we can focus on this one.
Yeah, so for this map, essentially what we're doing is we're abusing the way sensitivity works in the game to precisely set our angle to what we want it to be. And what happens here is Bess is going to shoot through that little tiny gap right there. There's a really tiny gap in the window, and it's incredibly precise, but since we can basically use the sensitivity to just like set our angle, then we can make it consistent. Otherwise that would take like
Is it 3 numbers
seconds.
precise or no?
Yes, it is.
Or 3 decimal points precise?
It is precise down to
Okay,
the thousandth of angle.
So you can it really helps when we abuse the sensitivity there because it just instantly lines us up. We don't really have to. It would still be faster if we didn't do that, but I mean,
it'd be much
we
more
would have to
consistent.
like lower our sensitivity, really eke out. Yeah.
Remember to taunt late.
But yeah, there's an interesting thing in the lobbies here, where in lobbies 2 and 3, you have to taunt with this air taunt because the game tries to unlock one for you. And as we already discussed in previous maps, we want to do the fastest taunt possible so we can get out of the taunting animation as quick as possible.
Yeah, this one in particular is like, I forget what it is. I think it's 6 or 7 seconds slower. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because it goes and grabs the other player. It does a whole weird animation. But because me and Creative have like ping, he's in Europe, I'm in North America. I have to delay my taunt by a specific amount because by whatever my ping is. Otherwise, the game gets confused and then just.
They tend to do that.
Well, this is a weird bridge.
Is now a good time for a quick donation incentive update?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So just want to remind everyone real quick, we've got that Outbound Ghost name the character incentive. So whoever ends up donating the most will get to name the character. And so this is a good opportunity to get those donations in. As I said, if you want to name somebody Bodie McBoatface, then now is definitely your chance to do that.
Heck yeah, guys, get those donations up. Let's go. Yeah, so a lot of chapter 3 is a lot of very conventional tricks. Like you're not gonna see us do anything like super special. Like here, Creative just like shoots me up to a higher area so that way I can shoot on a portal surface. It's almost intended. Like it's not literally intended, but it basically is. Previous map, it was kind of just us passing around like a ball or just hopping thing. The only thing we really did was save like 2 portals on that map. I think this next map is almost essentially the intended route.
Yeah,
so chapter 3 is where the game kind of gets simplified a little bit.
Yeah, apart from a quick little reportal, and the second room is a little bit different. We'll explain it more when we get there, because it's pretty intuitive when you see it.
Yeah.
One of my best tests, and they let plants grow here. Can you believe this? You can't test plants. We tried.
And here it comes.
Yeah, essentially we just use the bridge.
Yeah, so what he did is he just placed.
Yeah.
He just angled himself towards the door, and it's very fast. So here's where this next map coming up is where you're going to see an interesting thing, which I mean it was a little controversial like 6 or 7 years ago when it was like allowed, but basically in this game. Wait, what?
This catapult block.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about Mad Ambient Light.
Oh.
The humans feel good about themselves.
Not bad.
It is extremely easy.
Oh wait, what happened? Okay. Yeah, Mad Ambient Light is basically a command that makes the game brighter, so you can actually see what's going on. To some, they would say like, oh, well, that's not. Oh,
Good luck.
there we go. To some, they would say like that's not legitimate because like you know, seeing is like a really important part. But the Portal 2 community was like, well, some people have like really dark monitors and that can really impair their ability to actually play the game. And it shouldn't be like pay to win where it's like, oh, buy a better monitor, you get the thing. So Mad Ambient was allowed to make the game.
And it's
pretty
in co-op, it's
so
not that big of a deal, but there's a couple single player maps where it's like some monitors you can't see anything. So
yeah, there was one mapping co-op where it was like, hold on, where it was like basically invisible to one of my co-op partners, and
so there at the start
he,
we actually used a portal bump to get out of bounds. Oh, you would need to.
It's gonna be low, but it's gonna be really easy.
Yeah, no, that was no shot.
Interesting.
At the start there, we used a portal bump to essentially just get out of bounds, and when you go away from a portal, it tries to put you to the nearest possible inbound space, and so it just puts you up to the next area.
Yeah, and that allowed me to shoot the portal up, and for Creative to flank through, and we can just basically skip through the entire first part of the map. The second part would have been a little bit interesting. Basically, if you just portal up to that little area up there that Creative fell off, then you can just snipe a quick portal on the angled panel and then just flank to the end. But that shot is a little bit difficult, so sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and also in this case, the portal wasn't exactly optimal for me, so it happens.
That is a really high portal.
No one has ever completed this test before. The humans must
Yeah,
have
so as we get into the turret
defeated my
levels,
original
dying does
plans.
become a little bit more of a concern. Because, I mean, like, as you can see on that level, there was, like, 10 turrets shooting at you. But it's not really expected to happen. It's just, as long as you and your partner don't have a weird issue where, like, one person kills the other person's bridge, typically no issues occur.
Definitely can't happen, but
You're wondering what that smell is. That is the smell.
should
of
for the most
human
part.
It is one of the run killers for newer players, so if you're looking... Oh,
You just says a piston
you
here.
can, email... You can email me a thank you for that turret.
Oh my god, please.
Oh, you going? Okay.
I know, the mouse is
I
struggling.
am sure if I had the time to repair these tests,
Every
I
time,
would
it's
have
the
never
mouse, yeah.
completed them. So again,
So coming up, we're going to be going into the final map of Course 3. It's going to be another disc map. Where you're going to get to see some interesting tricks. You get to see me do a little bit of a parkour onto a unintended scaffolding in like the first area, followed by Creative doing a interesting ball grab, and then a interesting fling in the end room. So I mean, you can explain those when you get to them, Creative.
Yep.
But I'll show them my
I'll do my best.
I
interesting,
am going to risk having you go outside
my
the
interesting,
official
not
courses
technically
one
out of
more
bounds
time.
area
The
right now.
humans accidentally forgot to put a security DVD in the player.
Essentially
I'm
just
sure
using the
it
map
was by
geometry
accident. But
to
why
get
don't you put it
ahead
back
of
in
me,
the
because
player?
normally I would have been
For
ahead there.
safety.
Essentially, I can just stand up there and grab the ball early. There's a much slower intended way to do that. And right here, I'm going to be using this scaffold right here to redirect myself into this ender room. And just grab the disc like this.
In just a moment.
That's actually a relatively newer route that happened because before it was you have to shoot this portal in a interesting way to try and get yourself flung over here, or it helps a lot. And people weren't really like thinking like that before. So there was other routes where it was like, oh, fling yourself to the end, or oh, just hop the gap once you are like up there. But this ends up being the fastest way because it preserves a lot of momentum into that ending room, and it's like really, really consistent once you know how to off-center the portal.
Yep. Essentially, all the other fast strats on this map are really hard. So if you look at like the challenge mode boards or like the individual level boards for this map, there would be like the first 20 runs I think had 3 seconds of leniency or something like that. It was really stupid.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what happens when like there's a route that's like really only accessible to people who have practiced the game quite a significant.
So here we're going to be seeing the first instance of crouch fly. Essentially what happens is, oh, I died. That's not what happens. Essentially what happens is
That's not the intended strat.
when you're in a funnel, the game basically keeps a counter of like how many funnels you're in. So right now I have a counter of 1, but when I reach 0 velocity in the funnel, it actually gives me another it ups my counter to 2. So when I leave the funnel, I still have the counter at 1. So it basically just lets me fly as if I was in the funnel.
And the reason why we sit still in the funnel for a little bit is because you have to wait for your player to completely stop, so that way your player model there's a literal thing called like the player model going to like sleep, and then the game just stops keeping track of it. And then when you crouch, that's when you get the extra increment, because now it thinks, oh, his regular player model's in there and his crouching player model. That's how you get it incremented to 2.
Yep.
It would be pointless for either of us to hurt Blue's feelings, but it's clear to everyone monitoring
This
the
map
test
is
who's
basically
carrying
intended.
who here.
Yeah. There are some faster strats here, but they're all really inconsistent and hard to save time with.
They're really, really difficult. You literally do throw the ball into the portal in the fastest strat, so it's really cool, but throwing ball is really difficult.
Yeah.
Avocado, 40.
Definitely not a full game tactic.
So you like, if we did this route in challenge mode, it would give us like I think like 20 seconds roughly. But if we did this route, or if we did the fastest challenge mode route, I think the world record is just under 16 seconds. So it's quite crazy. Now this map,
Here's a interesting map.
this has a very interesting glitch where essentially Uh,
To agree.
oh, whoops.
Orange is
Well, it's fine.
penalized.
Oh, you good?
75
Okay.
science collaboration
Basically, what
points.
happens is if if blue replaces the other person's portal there and then shoots the portal over on that surface, then there's a weird glitch that happens. I don't think we know the rationale as for why. I think at this point we like know like what functions are being called to make it. Like I think one of our amazing Sora developers went and figured that out, but yeah, we don't exactly know like the reason for why that happens. But basically, if you crouch, the game gets mega confused and it just throws you at a wall with like 1,200 velocity, and you can just skip the entire map instead of having to funnel fly over. Speaking of funnel fly, here's another one.
I don't think that'll work, yeah.
Oh, I shot my portal to
Sorry, I missed the beginning of
yeah,
that
when you shoot your
dance.
portal, the intended strat there, the thing I was going for there was I was going to shoot my portal high enough so that when I crouched, it would just let me through. Because when you crouch, that's when you get your thing incremented to 2. It'll immediately send you through. You have the fly, that means. But I accidentally shot it a little bit too low, so that means I had to press W to get down into it. A little bit of a mistake there, but you know, it's not too big. It's like a second or two. Co-op polarity. This is a map where you just have to jump a really big gap, and it's not 100% consistent. So focus time.
Blue, how well do you really know Orange?
Nah,
Do you trust Orange?
I had really bad hopes.
Yeah.
What if I told
Sometimes,
you
because of the way
Orange
co-op
is
works,
first cooperative
you can't
partner?
always get tick perfect hops, and there's a lot of times where you're just not going to get them. So because of that, you sometimes will just end up not having the speed you need to make it, and it's better to just go back to the spawn and try again. Because the respawn is like 10 seconds, and like hopping back is like, I don't know, probably like half that. Like it's so always better to just go back rather than die.
It's a bit unfortunate, but it's sometimes it just happens. Here's another example of funnel fly. This time we're gonna use it in a bit of a different way. We're gonna get it while standing, and what that'll let us do is jump. So we'll jump with the physics we have. Oh, I didn't get it, but Bets got it. We jump with the physics.
Yeah,
we
so when
have.
you jump and oh yeah, you got it.
We jump with the
Oh,
physics we
my bad.
have in a funnel, and that'll basically lets us just fly upwards really quickly, and we'll gain a lot of speed.
Orange for telling me those horrible things about you. If Orange had said those things about me,
I shot the portal on the creative there, but I shot the wrong one, so he got caught up in the funnel. A little slow there, but you know, hey, that portal is super hard to keep track of because it doesn't actually like matter. But when the other person's like a little further behind, it like you actually have to keep track of it. Otherwise, they they'll get caught up in it. It's bad. So coming up, here's some interesting fling mechanics where we're going to be bouncing off the other player to work our way up into the top of the map.
No matter what I try to do to pull you apart or destroy you, you just keep going. Keep
Just like
testing.
that.
And now that we're on the top, we can just funnel him up and.
We're at the end.
This
That is actually a pretty difficult strafe. It took a while. Like the reason that strat wasn't found sooner was because like people kind of knew a little bit, but like they were just like, no, that strafe is like kind of too hard to do in a run. Of course, now like literally almost a decade later, it's now like a really easy strafe. But you know, during the early history of the game, that stuff was considered pretty tough.
Yeah, I remember. I know at least when I started, that was still a very tough thing for beginners to do. And I bet
Yeah. Now there's more difficult strats
Yeah.
in challenge mode where you like have to strafe even farther and like you can play even better. But fortunately, in full game, it's just a nice chill strafe.
It's just something I've whipped up for you. I thought you might
I
enjoy
wish
it.
the
Another example of funnel fly. That time you'll see me going up through a ground portal, so that way I slowly float up. And then because the like co-op, you don't actually grab the model. It's not like in single player. When you grab it, the item just disappears and teleports like straight in your hands. So because of that, I can just go and grab through the wall there. The item just gets instantly pulled through, and then I can fly to the end. So that would typically not work in single player, but because of co-op having its weird grab physics, because it doesn't want the cube to interact with other players, it just pulls it right through.
So for this map, we're going to be utilizing a bit of a. It looks really sketchy at first, but I promise it's very consistent. I'm basically going to be jumping to my death to get Bets to the end of the map, sacrificing myself for the better of the run, I guess you could say.
I am sure it was just a
Right here, you can see I shoot him out at the end,
Oh, those clerks.
and then I die.
And now, yeah, I'm at the end of the level. That map would actually unironically be like 5 minutes if you played through like the whole thing. But because of like Valve's weird oversight where you can just shoot near the end. We literally just skip all of that. I think in challenge mode, the flags, the individual level mode for the game, the flags are like right here, and it's like a 20-second map. It's not a.
Yeah.
But what would ordinarily be 5 minutes? That's the speed running time save right there.
This is another case we're gonna.
And now we're going into course 5.
Yeah.
Final thing for the map.
This is another
Final
case we're gonna restart level.
chapter.
To this time we're gonna do it to skip a cutscene. I forget how long this cutscene is. I hope I did it at the right time, but I forget how long this is. I think it's like a minute almost.
Yeah. So because we can restart level, the game thinks, oh, they've already been in the cutscene. But unfortunately, in order to skip the cutscene, you have to wait until you're at least 72 ticks into the map. So that's why we like don't restart level immediately there. If you were actually like looking at my screen, like why is it not restarting? It's because we have to wait. But now that we've done that, we've now saved the whole minute on the cutscene, and we can go into course 5, which is it's a weird course. Valve like kind of forgot the order of the players. So now, what you might have noticed is blue was always spawning in front of orange was always spawning in front of sorry, I'm a little slow.
Those other courses were fun.
Yeah. Orange was always spawning in front of blue for the first 4 chapters, but in this chapter, blue spawns in front of orange. So it kind of reverses who's doing the role that needs to be faster in a way. That map is basically, we literally do the intended strat. There is some interesting routes where like you go and like run yourself into the other player, and then the game just freaks out and just throws you up to the end.
It's kind of like what we do in calibration.
That is,
do you remember that?
Just
like on crack.
Yeah. That is a really rare trick to work, so it's absolutely not accessible for full.
Yeah, no, like in challenge mode, it takes like hours and hours and hours to hit that.
Now, I might be I think I am unironically the least lucky player in the entire Portal 2 community with that trick, because at one point in my challenge mode or my individual level career, I went 6,000 attempts dry on that. Literally, I just did not get it for 6,000 attempts, and I was so sad. But I did eventually end up getting world record at the end of that train, so you know, it works out.
And now you're like rank 25.
Yeah, because now people have just grinded that map into the ground.
What we do here is we basically strafe down and land on some scaffolding down there, like you saw. Oh my god, jumping foot.
We
land on some.
We are both successful.
Holy shit. We land on some scaffolding there, and I can just portal Bets over to the end.
Yep, which allows us to skip a whole room in the middle checkpoint and all of GLaDOS' speeches that go in the middle. It's very, very convenient. In challenge mode, in the individual level for that game, we do not land on the scaffolding. You just shoot the shot, and on top of that, you also have to do like basically like a 3-tick jump through on like the portal, where you have to get through the portal and then back before the player dies. It's actually a really interesting individual level speedrun, but well, yeah, we're not running that right now, so unfortunately not accessible. Oh, here's a route I found in like 2013, not to brag, but yeah, basically if you shoot that portal in a really precise way in the corner, it'll let you like get it really close to the door, and because of that, that allows us to actually jump over the wall, which saves us the whole time of going like around and like, you know, all that BS.
This is a very cool route. You're very cool for finding it.
Thank you. I'll take $200 PayPal then. To the stream, of course. Here's a really interesting thing. RealCreative, yeah, you should actually spend what you do. You have the fun.
Oh, come on. Got very unlucky with the gel spread right there. On both portals, but it's fine.
Basically what Creative does there is if you set up the gel in a particular way, it'll let you strafe in such a way that you can get on top of the wall, and you don't have to basically complete the starting room. And then from there, you can hop onto some scaffolding that's like really like just below like that ending room that we were just in. And then he can just shoot, portal me in. I go activate put the cube, have the cube touch the button, and then sprint into the end trigger, because that's how you trigger the dialogue. It doesn't actually need to stay on the button. Yeah, then we just both hurry our way to the end.
This is another case.
Oh, here's an interesting trick that only works for blue. So give it a
yeah, this is another case where we utilize scripted momentum. to basically, again, go out of the wrong portal and we just get up here and we laser all the turrets. So it's we skip basically all this part and don't really need to do much in this mode.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That could have gone badly. That could have sent me into the.
I don't actually know if that's possible.
At one point, I don't know if it's possible for Course 5 maps, but at one point when I was running with AJ, it happened such that fizzle thing, and it pulled him back and then shoved him into an area that he couldn't get out of, therefore soft locking the run and killing it. So you gotta be careful sometimes with this game and grabbing objects through other players. No
But if
joke.
we can rescue the humans, I promise. In case you're worried about the humans, don't be.
It's now a good time to pop in real quick.
Most of them are simply good test subjects. I believe the ratio of good test subjects to monsters is
Yeah, it's
Okay, perfect. We have a few options for donating. Viewers can donate through our GoFundMe campaign that we have linked through !donate in chat, or you can donate directly to Cora's Venmo as an alternate option to avoid any GoFundMe fees. You can also find that through the donate command in chat as well. Whichever option you feel most comfortable with, we have something available for everyone to donate to an amazing cause.
Now right here, I actually waited a little bit longer than I had to because that turret can actually, while
We do
in mid-air,
yeah.
it can actually hit me and like hit me off my path, so I can't go into the portal.
Yeah, we do an interesting tactic to stop the turret from like locking on, but unfortunately when you're mid-air, the turret just does not care about like the other player and will just hard focus blue sometimes. Oh, this is really bad gel, oh my lord.
Something is wrong.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. And time. Oh, sorry, we should have given more notice about that.
Yeah.
GG, great job. This run was so exciting. I love seeing Portal games get speedrun because they're so broken.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's much more interesting tech as well, but there's only so much you can do, both like in a run like this, where you have to be consistent all the way through, and also there's only so many things that are applicable to the run.
And so if you want to see some individual levels, board.portal2.sr. That's a good website for seeing those. They all have videos now, so you can you don't have to download demos.
Right on. Well, thank you both for this amazing run. Yeah, I would definitely love to see more from you two in the future, and hope we get to see you again at another event sometime. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
All right, team. Well, we are going to take another break real quick because frequent breaks are good and healthy to help us to stay happy and safe in our bodies. But our next run is going to be the Outbound Ghost Any Percent by Song of Soil. Recall that we do have an incentive for this. The Name the Character incentive. If you donate, then you have the opportunity to name the character. Now, whichever name ends up with the most dollars behind it will be the winner. So, definitely get those donos in if you want to see the character named Trans Rights or Cora or Bodie McBoatface, my personal favorite. I'm not pushing, I'm just suggesting. Definitely get those donations in. This is going to be a cozy run. Estimate is 1 hour and 45 minutes, so we're going to have a nice long time to settle down, wrap a blanket around us. If you're in an area where it's cold, if you're not, if it's warm where you are, please do not wrap a blanket around yourself. But it's going to be a chill time, so we hope you stick with us, and we're going to take our quick break right now.